But let's start with the and for a while people were calling this the new church committee, and it really got my goat because I was like, you can't possibly believe that this is going to be a church, like a church committee. The church committee brought about genuine reform, and a lot of it's been rolled back, frankly, but of the FBI and the CIA and sort of like rules for the national security state, and this thing is really just a wine fest. But here, this is I couldn't sum it up better than to play this clip of what's his name, Waters,
Jesse Waters.
Jesse Waters on the 5. And I can't remember the name of the woman who was there, who's the sort of
token Democrat,
the Democrat TJ,
the DJ, right?
DJ
or VJ.
I don't. No, she's someone else.
Is she Kennedy? No.
And she actually has a good point about this. But you bring this up in your weaponization piece. But here it is. This is what this entire committee is about.
Us. Okay, then DeSantis gets elected. Trump gets elected. What's he going to go in there and fire Chris Wray? Last time anybody did that, he got impeached for it. He got a special counsel down his throat. Or you go in and you leave Chris Wray in there, and then he blackmails you. So we have an FBI dictatorship here. You either fire him and die, or you can't touch him and you still die. And then the media comes out, doesn't even cover any of the substance of the hearing. Thank you. So this thing's totally contained over here, and no one discusses it. I'm sick of these hearings. Make me feel better, guys. Tell me this is going somewhere. Can I throw some in prison? Can someone go to jail? Can someone get fined?
If we had an objective Department of Justice,
we don't have
a tier 2.
They're under investigation.
Department of
we
Justice.
Don't have an objective anything anymore.
Just very quickly, you guys got the Durham investigation, which was supposed to blow the lid off of all of this, and it ended up with nothing because there is nothing.
Oh, there is nothing.
No,
Stop.
not because the jury was in D.C.
You guys admitted you planted the dossier.
Yeah, what?
You admitted you framed him as a traitor. And then you want to investigate our investigation. We're investigating the investigators. We're investigating the investigators.
We don't live in the same world. It's just crazy.
Exactly. Your world's fake.
My world is winning.
We're following the facts.
Oh, you're winning.
Because you guys are corrupt.
We are winning.
You robbed my vote.
This is the best.
You voted in New York.
What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, go to break. Judge, tell him to go to break.
All right. Coming up.
So I guess what I think this captures here is the lunacy that's involved here, the complete failure to acknowledge that there was a investigation significantly longer than the Mueller investigation, maybe twice the length of the Mueller investigation, into all of the sort of supposed sort of dark arts that were practiced on Donald Trump. It didn't go anywhere. They didn't discuss it. Fox is not even carrying these hearings because they know it's an embarrassment and it's not going to work out well for them. And by the end, Waters just realizes this is all a joke. It doesn't matter. Chris Wray was appointed by Donald Trump. I mean, it's all just a joke. And cut to commercial before, we just start laughing about how ridiculous this is. I mean, that to me sums it up better than any, as well as it can be summed up.
Absolutely. I hadn't seen that. So this was new to me. That was amazing because you're absolutely right. Every single thing about that, the contradictions, the insane hypocrisy, the bizarro world, recitation of non-facts. I mean, all wrapped up in this intense frustration. And at the same time, you see Greg Gutfeld over there on the side laughing himself silly over the whole thing, right? I mean, he thinks it's really hilarious. It's a big joke. I mean, I have to wonder how the audience, the Fox News audience, takes that sort of thing. I mean, how is that received? Because I find it confusing at best. So, I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, that's an unusual thing, but it does capture exactly what's going on. I mean, what we have seen in this new Congress, which is still brand new, just starting up, has been a chaotic shit show beyond anything I could have I could have predicted. And I was predicting, I think we all were, a chaotic shit show. But here we are watching this for everything from the speakership battle that we all watched live on television, that was absolute embarrassment. These hearings now are starting. You've got George Santos and that whole saga, the State of the Union and the bizarre behavior there, which we can talk about. I mean, this has been amazing. Now, granted, it's a show, but from what I'm seeing there with Waters and that crowd around there, they don't know quite how to sell it, right? I mean, they don't know what to do with this because it really is even beyond anything that they can grasp. It's way, way out there.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't, who knows how the Fox audience responds to it, but I don't think it really, the Fox audience isn't as important in my mind about this. The real, like, when we've seen this in the past, and I mean, we, like, literally you and I, we have, like, watched this in the past, whether it was like the Benghazi era or whether it was sort of like, the Bush years. Yeah. There has been a focus. It's all been insane. It's all been insane and sort of backed up by, conspiracy theories, like Hillary Clinton, dragged Vince Foster's body into the park, that type of thing. Or Benghazi, they had to have 50 hearings about this. There's always been the insane part, but what the committees are there for is to sort of like whitewash the insane part, soften the edges there, sell it to the mainstream, and have it become this ongoing saga that the rest of normal people have to deal with. And that may yet happen. I mean, there's a desperate inclination by the media to do that, but they are so all over the place that there's no cohesiveness. This is like, we've not seen this failure of leadership from the top in the Republican Party. There's no rudder here. And so it's like everything's zigzagging, nothing can hold. I mean, when we get into the State of the Union, the same thing is going to be taking place. But there's no cohesive push here.
Absolutely not. I mean, everyone's a free agent doing exactly what they want. And they're all just kind of there's always been an aspect of right-wing scandal mongering, which is essentially what the weaponization, the obstruction of justice committee is doing. They're just throwing things at the wall, hoping that something sticks, right? I mean, and they've always done this. They did it back in the 90s. This is just how they operate. But this time, it's like, I think that what's happened in the past, the point of that was to do what you just suggested, to get average people, normie Americans who aren't really invested that much in politics. And basically that they just kind of go, all right, enough. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something going on here. I don't like it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. They called it Clinton fatigue back in the 90s, just kind of, yeah, I get it. These people are a bunch of jerks and they're going after the Clintons. But on the other hand, come on, let's just put it into it. We'll get somebody new in there. That's essentially, I think, what they want to do. And the Hunter Biden thing really plays into that well, which is just, we don't want to hear any more about Hunter Biden, so let's get rid of Biden. But the problem is that they've been doing this so much now that I think even normal Americans are onto it. They get it now. They look at them, they see this crazy behavior on the part of the right wing, and that's their shtick now. It's now they're kind of like, oh, get rid of these people, rather than look at Joe Biden or the Democrats and say, well, there must be something to it, because they have no credibility. The right has completely lost all credibility, I think, with anyone but their own followers. There's nobody,
and their own followers are okay with them trolling, right? They're fine with the trolling. Yeah. They actually thrive off that. But yeah, I mean, this might sound kind of facile, but how much of this just has to do also with the fact, well, one, Kevin McCarthy's incompetent, but two, that Biden's a boring white guy. Like, they don't have female boogeyman Hillary Clinton. Also, and they built up decades of like a narrative about the Clintons. Partially it was given to them, but mostly made up. And then Obama being a black guy, like Biden's approval ratings aren't out of this world, but he's so bland and standard that it's almost a shield against the crazy. Like, it just doesn't stick to him.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think it's a really big thing. The thing they're trying to stick him with is the age thing, but they have to be careful because most of their voters are, ancient,
Yeah.
Other than that, the white guy thing is there's just nothing there for them to really grasp onto to really, drill home the hate.
It's also,
he's not even a hippie. I mean, he wasn't even a hippie.
It's also super hard to say, like, aren't you sick of hearing for Hunter Biden? And now, so you'll have Donald Trump. I mean, like that, it's literally saying, like, aren't you sick of the frying pan? Because the fire looks so inviting. And the other thing that cuts against this, and again, it's really just like how sort of, I think, how much does certain like mainstream outlets, how much do they have to like kid themselves to broadcast this stuff as if it's real? And how much effort is associated with them having to sort of pretend this is actually genuinely real?